John Blake presents The Counterfeit Countess, the untold story of the Jewish heroine who defied the Holocaust, written by Elizabeth B. White and Joanna Sleever, and read by Julie Teal. Usage notes. Place names. The names of the places where Janina lived in eastern Galicia, today's western Ukraine, changed in the course of the 20th century, sometimes more than once. Just between 1939 and 1941, the name of today's Lviv changed from Lvov to Lvov to Lemberg. This book uses the place names that Janina knew and used. For places that have different names today, the current name is provided in parenthesis the first time the place is mentioned. Usage of Poles. Pre-war Poland was a multi-ethnic state. The majority consisted of ethnic Poles who were Polish-speaking, predominantly Roman Catholic, and did not belong to another ethnic group. Like Janina, many members of Poland's ethnic minorities considered themselves loyal Poles, and during the Second World War, many would risk and even sacrifice their lives for their nation. Polish citizens generally identified themselves and one another by their ethnicity. In this book, when the term Pole is not modified, it refers to a person of Polish ethnicity. Prologue. August the 9th, 1943. Lublin, Poland. Once again, the commandant of Majdanek concentration camp found Countess Suchodolska in his office, making yet another absurd demand. SS Obersturmbannführer Hermann Florstedt had served at several concentration camps in Germany, but Majdanek, he had found, bore little resemblance to them. Located in Lublin in German-occupied Poland, the camp was primitive and chaotic compared to the concentration camps in the Reich. Florstedt's assignment as the camp's commandant in 1942 had been a promotion, but also punishment for suspected corruption at Buchenwald. He had arrived at Majdanek to find a massive construction site with unpaved roads, no running water, contaminated wells, and open latrines that gave off an overpowering stench. Towering billows of smoke regularly belched from the camp's crematorium chimney, raining down the ashes of men, women, and children murdered in the gas chambers. Currently, 23,000 prisoners were languishing in unimaginable filth. Infectious diseases were so rampant that even the SS guards sickened and died. Majdanek did have one compensation in Florstedt's view. It was the repository of the personal belongings of many of the hundreds of thousands of Jews being murdered by the SS in German-occupied central Poland. SS warehouses in Lublin held mountains of clothes, shoes, furs, and leather goods, and boxes full of currency, jewellery, watches, wedding bands, and gold teeth. It was Florstedt's responsibility to ensure that Majdanek prisoners processed these goods so that the SS could fully profit from them. But who would notice if Florstedt and his most trusted men took some of the riches as recompense for their service in plundering and murdering Germany's racial enemies? One of the vexations of Florstedt's work, however, was the meddling of Polish aid organizations that sought to provide food and medicines for Majdanek's Polish prisoners. The Polish Main Welfare Council and the Polish Red Cross were far more assertive than any similar organizations in the Reich. They had actually obtained permission to make weekly deliveries of bread and food products for the prisoners' kitchens, to supply the prisoners with packages of food and necessities, and to provide medicines for the camp infirmaries. And yet Countess Janina Suchodolska of the Polish Main Welfare Council continually pressed for more. To make more frequent deliveries of more food and more medicines. She even proposed delivering prepared soup for the prisoners.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?